everybody, winter is here and it is time for a wonderful cassoulet, which is a beautiful old French dish which involves a variety of flavors. Today I'm going to do one that was made famous by Prosper Montagnier, and he was the editor for the first La Hausse Gastronomique, and that's one of the most famous books that will outline French cuisine. And this particular recipe over here is going to be the most celebrated, one of the earliest and the most distinguished dishes in cassoulet, which involves ham and pork and sausage, not duck. And duck was very popular, but it's another kind of cassoulet. There's different types. So that's what we'll be doing today. And one of the reasons why is because duck is actually a little hard to find, and most people aren't really willing to put that much time and effort into the cassoulet. So I'm trying to make something that is delicious and tasty, and yet fairly easy to make. Also today I'll be making a midwinter soup, and what that is refrigerator soup. Now it's not going to be so much for the fact of what I want to give you as far as ingredients, but to give you inspiration as to what you can put into soup, which is anything you want. So let's get cooking. All right, the first part of the cassoulet is going to be the base, and you can use onions, but I'm going to use something a little more traditional, leeks. They have a wonderful flavor and quite a history in French cuisine. Now they do get very dirty, so you want to make sure they're cleaned up nicely. And what I'll do, I'm not going to use the green part for this recipe, so I'll just cut that part off. But there is a lot of dirt in it. So on this end, you want to make a cross cut. You make one cut and then the other cut, so that you can fan it open, and there's a fair amount of dirt I can see in this already. So you just clean it out and rinse it off like this. And then I will chop this up into fairly fine pieces for the cassoulet, and I will saute it in some extra virgin olive oil and make that the base. All right, we're chopping up our leeks over here for the base of our cassoulet. Sharp knife always helps. And I'm not going to be too fussy with these. I'm just going to chop these into little ringlets. Okay, it's time to saute our leeks. And I'll put a little bit of the extra virgin olive oil at the bottom over here. And we'll throw our leeks right in the pan. Very easy. Alright, we're going to lower the fire on here, and we're going to check our leeks. Oh yeah, they're going down very nicely, browning up a bit. So that means it's time to add some of our mushrooms. We had nice large mushrooms which I just quartered essentially, and I'm going to put some in for the cassoulet, but I'll put some into my soup as well, so I'll reserve a few for that. And after that goes down, which will be only in about 5 minutes, we're going to start to add our meat. I have this beautiful ham over here, the pork shoulder, which is boneless, and I also have my sausages. Some of it was homemade by myself, and we have some chicken. I am going to add some chicken thighs because it'll kind of replace the duck. I do miss the element of duck in the cassoulet, so I'll put something that is actually kind of similar. The chicken thigh is a little bit darker, has more intense flavor, like maybe a duck, so it'll add a different dimension. We'll have 3 different types of meats. We'll give it an amazing flavor. And we're also going to work on our soup. I have 20 cups of water that is boiling with a ham bone in there, and in a few minutes we're going to start to add some of our vegetables. All right, the ham bone is doing very nicely. It's starting to add some flavor to the stock, and it's now time to add some of the vegetables. Now here's the really cool thing. In the late fall, when I had a lot of tomatoes, I started to freeze them. I just cored them and I kept them exactly as they are, whole. There's nothing else to do. You put them right in the water and you put them in for a long time. I also have in that little pot over here some of the leek, as well as a little zucchini that I have from the garden. And what else that I'm going to add is some spinach over here. Spinach is always wonderful in a soup. It'll give you excellent vitamin content as well as flavor. So we'll stir that up a little bit. Now, when I called it refrigerator soup, I wasn't kidding, was I? But this is what I love to do with fresh vegetables from my garden. When they get to be aplenty, and you can actually store some, put them in freezer bags, and then use them in the dead of winter, so you can make yourself an amazing soup. Now this is going to simmer for a very long time on a low simmer. So that'll be there for a couple of hours essentially, but I'll keep checking on it eventually and tasting it, and we'll adjust for flavor for some fresh ground pepper and some sea salt. All right, time to add the last component to our hearty winter soup over here. I have citrouille, which is pumpkin. And if you don't think that doesn't taste good in a soup with other vegetables, let me tell you, you've got to try it. I have my leeks and my mushrooms resting over here in another pot. That was with the extra virgin olive oil. I would add a little bit of sea salt and fresh cracked pepper to that. But now it's time to brown some of this meat. Now I have my large Dutch oven, and we will put in a little bit of the extra virgin olive oil at the bottom. This is organic. Love organic. Try to buy as much as I can organic. Anyway, let's start off with some of the sausage. I have some sweet sausage and some of the sausage that I made earlier in the week, and we'll just brown that up a little bit. I'm going to brown some of the chicken up. We will also add our shoulder, and then we're going to put everything together and just let it cook on a low fire for a very long time. All right, so I took my sausage out of the pan, and they were nice and browned, and I browned the chicken thighs, and I'm taking those out. Now, what we'll do is deglaze the pan a bit with a beautiful glass of port wine. This is a cup. And you want to just stir up the bottom of the pan so all those little beautiful tidbits go into the sauce. And then next, wow, this aroma. This is great. Great stuff. All right, now we'll put in our pork over here, and that'll go right to the bottom of the pan. Be careful not to splash. And I will reintroduce the meat and also my leek and mushroom mixture with some spices. And at the very end of this cooking, we will add our beans. The beans are in a can already. They're essentially cooked, so you don't want to put them in the beginning because they will melt into nothing. So we'll add those later on. All right, I've assembled everything in the pot. I have my beautiful chicken thighs, which were browned up, the sausage, and I have the leek and mushroom mixture, and I have the pork right in the very center, just getting nice and tender. So we'll add a little bit of rock sea salt over here, coarse sea salt, I should say. I love the coarse sea salt. It has a great mineral flavor, texture. So let's put some fresh ground pepper, my favorite. You know how I love it. Waffles, breakfast cereals, cassoulet, whatever. Little extra broth to go on this cassoulet. What an aroma. It's amazing. I wish you could smell this with all of the mushrooms and the leeks and the two types of sausages and the ham that just is falling apart and the beans. It's amazing. We have the herbs as well, and we have our beautiful winter soup with vegetables from my garden, which I froze, and you can use really any vegetables that you want. I did put in some rice as well, actually, so we could give it a little extra substance, whole grain rice. And this is a perfect meal for, once again, a cold, snowy winter's night like tonight, which I just got back from shoveling, actually, so this is going to taste really good. Get together in the kitchen with your family and your friends and enjoy all the stories and the laughter, and you can build memories that last a lifetime. Take care.